Hello, heroes and dreamers. I am Peaches, your host today on Campbell's Corner.
How would you advise somebody to tap that spring of eternal life, that joy that is right there?
Well, we're having experiences all the time, which may, on occasion, render some sense of this, a little intuition of where your joy is. Grab it. No one can tell you what it's going to be. I mean, you've got to learn to recognize your own depths.
Welcome to Campbell's Corner, once again. It is, I don't remember how many episodes this is, but it feels like a lot. And this time, it's extremely special, particularly for me, because it's our Mother's Day special! Blah, 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 blah. And my guests in the studio with me today are my mom, Marilyn. Hello. And another mom, my big sister, Laci.
Hello.
So, typically, I start off sharing a story, and then we just kind of go. And if you have stories to share as well, then we'll do it. But I'll kick us off so that you guys can settle into the chairs and get cozy and comfortable. Getting it. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Egyptian mother goddess Isis. And this story in particular, you have to have a lot of backstory for because, like, her tale touches a lot of other gods' tales. Somebody tail touching. So, basically, Isis ruled with her brother husband, Osiris, trying to
I like the way you kind of just went over that really fast.
I mean, it's like every pantheon is like my brother, husband, cousin. So yes, her brother husband, Osiris, ruled with her brother husband, trying to teach civilization to humanity. One day, Set, the god of disorder, murdered Osiris, the god of order. And Set was mad because his wife, Nephthys, had a baby, Anubis, with Osiris. Oh. And they're all siblings, and their other brother. The drama!
Osiris.
So, Set lured his brother into a coffin because he's like, hey man, you want to like try this out? And he like brought it to a party and like all these other deities, and they were all like, I can't get in, I don't understand, oh my gosh, it's so hard. And then Osiris was like, I got this. And he's like, watch me get in. And then Set just like closes the lid, staples it closed, and then weighs it down with a bunch of lead and then tosses it into the Nile.
Dang it, Set.
Dang it, Osiris. So then Isis is devastated by the loss of her husband brother by her other brother cousin murdered it, whatever. And so she's so sad that she starts wandering the lands looking for him, and the god of the river Nile, I forget his name, basically carried the coffin down the river a ways and kept it safe. And so she eventually found his coffin. It was like entombed in a tree, and she was like, oh my gosh, I found him. And then so she like yanked him out of the tree, set him on the ground, and she was so like saddened by the sight of his deadness that she transformed herself into a kite and like flew around above him, and that was her like morning dance type thing. And miraculously, as she flew over the body, she became with child.
Oh, that's how that happens.
As one does. That is exactly how it happens. And when she returned to Egypt, she hid from Set, her brother, cousin. And then she hid from him. And so she kept her baby hidden in the reeds of the Nile, and she was like, she kept having to like fight off like scorpions and snakes, and this poor kid kept getting bitten by snakes and scorpions, but she's like, no, we have to stay here because Set's looking for you. And he's just like, but Mom, why? And she's like, it's okay. And she, healed him every time, and mother's love and healing, and that's what she was about. And then meanwhile, Set is just like, where's the baby? And then looking all around for Isis, and he actually finds Osiris's body. And so he's like, this guy. And then and so he chops up his body into 14 pieces and scatters it across the lands. And Isis is like, but why you do that though again? And so then she goes running around trying to find his body parts. And she does, except for his phallus, which she reconstitutes instead of finding the old one. She just gives him a new one. And she rubs down his body in oils and does the first embalming, basically. And she transports, or she makes him immortal again. She brings him back, and he's just like, oh, I'm here. And we have a baby. How lovely. And he's like, but I'm going to just stay with the dead because I think I would rather judge them than have to deal with Set. So then
oh my gosh.
I
did not see that coming.
I know. Drama. So then Isis is like, Horus, my son, you are so wonderful. And while he's playing in the reeds and the snakes and stuff, the sun god Ra is like getting old, so he starts to drool, and the drool starts turning into a snake. Anyways, all this other stuff.
Whoa.
Basically, I know, Horus becomes blessed with,
Spit?
Stuff. Spit be with you. And and then Set's mad because he's like, but I'm supposed to rule over everything. And then Horus is like, no, me. And then basically it turns out that Upper Egypt is ruled by Horus, and he's kind of like the pharaoh's god. He's like the pharaoh's guy. He's everybody who's a pharaoh or will ever be a pharaoh is descended from Horus. And Set gets Lower Egypt, and he's the god of prosperity and all this other stuff. And he's the one who kind of, and Isis is just like, oh, thank goodness, no more killing everybody, and yay. And she was, it was a lot.
That was a lot.
And it's
questions.
It's fun to read about her story because she's just like, why are we fighting? Stop it. And I just want my baby to be okay. And she does a really good job of keeping him hidden and all this other stuff. Anyways, so it's a fun story.
Funny that she's teaching civilization to humanity with all of this going on in the background, amongst the gods.
This is how we govern ourselves. Meanwhile, her brother husband and her cousin and brother are murdering each other and all this other stuff in the background. So there's lots of drama. Egyptian mythology is fun.
Dang.
Yeah.
Full of drama.
Full of drama.
Who's your favorite Egyptian god?
So this is going to sound bad because I don't remember his name exactly, but he was a sun god that was not Ra, but he was a kind of a controversial one. And basically he was a pharaoh, but he was like, I don't like Ra anymore. I think he's dumb. And then he was like, I know how to do this better. So he built a bunch of temples, and everybody actually really loved him and loved his way of things and
philosophy.
Yeah. And
wait, so he was a god? No, he was a pharaoh.
He was a pharaoh. And
okay. So a lesser god or something? Is that?
Yeah. So, no, all pharaohs are gods, technically.
Ah.
So, and this guy was everybody loved him. The people loved him, but the other nobility did not like him because he was shaken up too much. And basically this guy was like, I just want there to be one god. And so he was like, it's the sun. And so he was trying to do away with all the other ones where he's like, no, we don't need that. We don't need that. And everybody was like, oh, cool. That's kind of fun. I like the story. This is fun. And then other people were like, oh my gosh, what is he doing? He's ruining everything. Whatever. And then
it's putting people out of their jobs.
Right? So yeah, I mean, and there's still temples to the god that he worshipped, the one sun god. And again, I can't remember his name. which is bad because I like the story the most because it's weird and interesting. Anyways, but yeah.
Almost like a Christianity offshoot of like Egyptian mythology, kind of.
Kinda, yeah. But with the sun.
Yes.
The Son and the Holy Spirit.
Wait.
But back to mothers. Enough about sons.
I see what you did. Good segue.
So, who would like to kick us off here? Anybody feeling brave?
I will start. So, my legend comes from the very historical and mysterious culture that is science.
Nice.
So I put on my mitochondria earrings.
Oh, perfect.
The
powerhouse.
My little powerhouse earrings on purpose today. Because all of us, our mitochondria, which are we have multiple or, anywhere from 0 to hundreds of them in each of our cells. All of those mitochondria came from our mothers, not at all from our dads. And so I was looking at him on the table because
science.
I know. Well, and it's fascinating because
she blinded me with science.
With raw sun and powerhouses and energy. But we wouldn't be able to be multicellular like we are and have different tissue types and all these things if we didn't have mitochondria just churning out ATP, which is the currency of the cell.
Mm.
Yeah. And I didn't know that we get all of our mitochondrial DNA from our mothers until a couple of years into the degree.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was wait, what? Why don't more people talk about that? That's really interesting.
It is interesting.
But sperm don't have mitochondria. They lose their mitochondria. They actually, in the process of turning into a spermatozoa, which is the premature one, it converts your mitochondria into this little kind of like a torpedo back of the sperm. So that's what's propelling this thing forward.
Oh.
I know. Also was what? Because bacteria have flagella, which are the little tails, and they can spin or they can wiggle or they can do things that will help bacteria move. Mm. But sperm do the same thing, but they convert their mitochondria into this little thing. So you don't use it for actually transmitting genetic material at all. It's just part of the little capsule of the sperm. And then once you get to an egg, then the DNA just gets sent through the shell of the egg essentially. And then the rest of the sperm is discarded and it's not important anymore. It's just the DNA is the important part.
So as you were describing that, all I could think about was praying mantises. when they're hey, let's get it on. And then the dude's I know I'm going to die after this, but I give my body to you, my lady. And then she's just thanks.
I'm really hungry.
For our children.
Which is funny, I was reading about the egg cell first, when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about. And I was thinking about the ovum,
mm-hmm.
The actual mature egg cell. And it has it's actually a little egg. It has extra nutrients and extra stuff that's all encapsulated in there. Yeah. And so it's it's kind of like the male praying mantis in its own way. It's no, I've got everything I need. I'm just a little beefy cell. It's huge compared to
baked bean.
It is. Well, it's so much bigger than normal cells. Because it's been they're all in there right now. They're all in our ovaries, but they're just sitting there waiting. Mm. And they get a certain signal from the ovary, and it's oh, time to mature. Here we go. And so all these enzymes and all these things around it start turning into little factories of pumping it full of energy and pumping it full of nutrients. And it's all right, you're ready. Depart. And then it pops it out of the ovum, and then it enters fallopian tubes and hopefully meets its sperm and does the things. Or not hopefully. I mean, that's its purpose, but
mm-hmm.
it also can be sloughed off just fine.
Mm-hmm.
But that is like before it, you know, before we become us, like that's what we are, is these little like power-packed beings of awesome.
Hashtag power-packed. Hashtag power-packed beans of awesome. Hashtag power-packed beans.
See, I thought it was going to be hashtag brother husband. I like where this is going.
It's still on the table. We can toss it around at the end of this.
Well, I think, you know, learning new things about the body is, I mean, it just makes me realize how special.
Complicated?
Well, yeah, complicated too, but how miraculous it is, how all of these things have to come together, not only for us to exist, you know, to be alive, but then to propagate, to you know, further our...
Make a baby.
Yeah. So it's always impressive what our bodies can do and how they function and all that kind of stuff.
Make another human.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just wild. So mitochondria, did you know? We're also, so I just have one more little bit. I'm so sorry. I have like, this one is actually really interesting. I know, it's actually really cool though. So,
blind us more with science.
this is the last, I'll stop. I can just like settle in, but this one is actually really cool. And I didn't know it until also it was like, oh, biology. What? People don't know this. Mitochondria didn't like originate from within our cells. They're like an additional organism that like once got encapsulated by like one of our like ancestor cells. Like some bacteria that we're derived from, it like ate this little bacteria that was in mitochondria. And then it didn't digest it. It was just like, oh, you like
can be a part
work
of me
for
now.
me. I work for you. And so now there's this like symbiotic little like partnership going on.
Okay.
So mitochondria have their own plasma membrane. Like they have their own little like, they have their own DNA that's separate from cellular DNA, which is also why it's really cool that like we get our mitochondrial DNA from our mothers only. So like you can see exactly where they've come from, you know, based on your mother's, because like it's completely encapsulated. It was a different organism that was like taken in by this cell, and then like they just co-evolved together. Weird, right?
It is weird, but I love it.
So everybody who's listening to this podcast can now go out and just, you know, impress the heck out of everybody else going, hey.
Did you know
Did you
that your
know?
mitochondria
Like,
only comes from your mom?
What are you talking about? Go on.
Everybody listening, go to your moms and thank them for their mitochondria.
Thank her
and
for her
they will be
mitochondria.
super impressed.
Thank you, Mother.
Thank you, Mother,
For our mitochondria.
Speaking of mother. Mother.
Hello.
What would you like to share today?
Well, you know, and I don't have a specific story because I just don't.
fair.
But listening to your story about Isis and the measures that she went to protect her child when she needed to, and even though it's like, yeah, this is going to really suck and you're going to get bitten by snakes and stung by scorpions, you know, it's something that we have to do, and I'll help you get through
And
it.
I'll always be there for you.
Right.
Just
I mean, which
cure
is
the poison.
which is the job of mothers. You know, it's about being there for the kids and providing the mitochondria for them, you know.
Giving them the energy and their powerhouse.
Exactly, yeah. So
That actually, the mitochondria bit, sorry to interrupt, but
You're
I
fine.
just realized the mitochondria bit kind of fits with Isis too, because she was the one who was kind of like collecting the drool from Ra and was like, hey Ra, you want to like tell me your power words so I can give the power of the sun to my boy? And he was like, wait a minute, I see what you're doing. But maybe
Symbiotic things going on.
her mitochondria, she gave it to her boy and all that.
Or maybe
took
she was
the-
like, he was the mitochondria. Maybe like this Ra was
or
the
his
like,
sperm spit.
we're
Or
the
his little-
first,
little
yeah, where it
blob
first
self
evolved.
was like took it in, and then it became that thing that powered the rest of the thing. The bigger thing?
Sounds like a great myth to me.
Anyway, sorry, continue.
Basically that was just it. I just, I kind of was going to kind of personalize what Mother's Day meant to me growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I came from a big family. I had a mother and father that they both worked very hard in their own ways, to support this huge family. And Mother's Day was always kind of a special day in my family growing up because it was one way that we could cook breakfast for her and give it to her in bed, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was always really special for me growing up. And then from that, having all these memories about my Mother's Days with my children and you guys kind of doing the same thing where, I remember the first couple Mother's Days when I would get breakfast in bed and it was really pretty awful.
You mean
But it's
yummy?
like-
Excuse you.
The best breakfast you've ever had.
Well, and it was in so many ways, but
It's so yummy. Flicks the food over your shoulder.
hide the whatever that concoction was under my
Robe or whatever.
sheet or whatever, in bed, But then as you guys got older and more talented, obviously,
I don't know if that
I
actually
was
is
going to
true.
say, don't lie. It's
feel
so
like
bad.
that's a lie.
No, but then, I graduated to a really good cup of coffee and scrambled eggs and toast and, it
Normal
was pretty
breakfast
nice.
items.
Normal breakfast
Not
items.
amalgamations. Not
Me too.
horrors.
And I think I was also fortunate enough to have, very talented daughters who were always creating very beautiful man-made, self-made presents for me, So I have a lot of really special memories of my mother and celebrating her and then my children celebrating me.
And now you have a retirement fund.
And
I was just about to say, I cannot believe you didn't bring in the book.
So for those of you listening, my big sister gave my mom a book that she made herself.
That I said was by Peaches and not by me. And so we had to read it again
And
recently
clarify.
and decide that it was totally me.
And she totally threw me under the bus. And
But it was actually a book that was made for my birthday.
Oh, it was
Oh, yeah,
birthday.
and on
That's
Mother's
right. It's
Day.
on Mother's Day.
Yeah. But I
Would've been
mean,
a good
still,
birthday.
it was...
It would've been
if you had not been birthed, I would not have been birthed.
Right.
And so on and so on.
Yeah.
Haiku
But-
in that somewhere. If you had
Cleverness.
Had not been
birthed.
birthed by me. Wait. My
Mother,
brother,
husband.
sister, husband. Oh my god. Anyways.
Oh.
Sorry, Mom.
But my fun fact, because you guys have all this wisdom and all this knowledge and in your... Yeah, but... Mother's Day started in 1908. In, I believe it was West Virginia, there was a woman who lost her mother and was showing honor to her mother and going through the process of grieving and saying goodbye and that kind of thing. And decided that a really good way to do that was to establish a day where mothers would be celebrated.
Oh,
And it's like back in the day, mothers were the kind of the mitochondria
Honestly.
of the household. They did everything because their men were away from home working and putting food on the table. Women had to do everything else. So... the powerhouses of the household. Yeah.
So, Mother's Day back in the day with your mom, did you do it differently than other families, or was it all pretty much the same at that point? Like, or
Well,
were there different traditions based on?
I think different traditions in that, you know, a lot of our celebrations, and this is true with not just Mother's Day, but birthdays and, you know, all of those things, because we grew up in a very large family, didn't have a lot of money. So a lot of our celebrations were homemade gifts, you know, baking a cake. Baking a cake was always kind of a tradition. And my younger sister, Teresa, kind of evolved into that place where she was the cake baker. So anybody that had a celebration or birthday, whatever, Teresa was going to make a cake for us. So, yeah.
I could see her being
That's
the cake
pretty
person.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
I know. Yeah.
She would be the cake baker, though.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So a lot of it depended on, you know, ability, first of all, because when you're little, you make really, you know,
You try really hard.
you try really hard.
And you make really great things
You
to
do.
give to your mom.
Yeah. And then, you know, again, like I say, without having a lot of money, it was stuff that we would find around it, you know. I mean, we used to build a lot of things with just the stuff that we had on hand. We built Barbie doll houses, you know, out of cardboard and cans and stuff like that, you know. So it was that kind of thing. It was, you know, let's go out and find something. And, I do remember one year, though, my siblings and I, a few of my siblings and I, we were going to raise money to buy a blouse for Mother's Day.
That's sweet.
And so what we did, oh my
What
God,
did
I
you
still can't
do?
believe this, is that we decided we were going to put on a show.
Yay!
And so we made tickets. And I can't remember how much we were charging for it or anything like that. But we went around to all of our neighbors and we're selling tickets to this program that we're going to have in our backyard to raise money so we could buy this blouse for our mother. And
It's an amazing idea.
I know, right?
So
and
who wrote the program? What was this program?
Well, you know, I'm trying to remember a lot of it. So, you know, back then, a lot of your knowledge came from encyclopedias. Okay.
I remember encyclopedia.
Yeah.
We had
So
We had a good set of
Yeah.
encyclopedias.
Anytime you want to research or
That's a good
whatever.
one.
So it actually evolved into kind of like a more informational, and I can't remember what we were researching in our encyclopedia, but
Across
it's,
the seas, on the other side of the world.
Let us tell you.
Let us take you
Exactly.
to India.
I mean, it wasn't even
Egypt. Yeah, let's talk about places.
it wasn't even that. It was probably like, hey, let me tell you about Lewis and Clark. You know, that kind of
I mean, Clark Fork River.
Clark Fork River. But I do remember that we had some really great, I think we actually had 2 neighbors come to watch our program.
Oh, so sweet.
I mean, a lot of them gave us our quarters or whatever we were charging, you know. So we were able to get our mom this. It was a really pretty, like a robin's egg blue sleeveless shirt. It was really cute. And so we accomplished what we wanted to do.
Oh, did she love it?
Oh, she did. Yeah, she did.
Was it Lewis and Clark? That was the play. Do you remember? What
I don't
the program
remember
was?
what we. I don't remember what our topic
Man, I would
was.
pay
I know.
you so many dollars for a ticket to that program.
I would give you so many blouses.
I will tell you, the next time I Skype with my sisters, I will ask them if anybody remembers that,
Man.
and maybe
Would love
between
to
all
know
of
that.
us, what we might be able to remember. Yeah.
Did everybody contribute? Like even like Steve and Paul?
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
The
everybody?
little ones would totally
Everybody.
Oh
contribute.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I
they
could see
have
Barb
to. They're
like
like the tree, the bush,
Yeah.
the squirrel,
Yeah. The page
the gremlin.
turner. Whatever.
the gremlin.
Yeah.
the
Yeah, no, it was
the big siblings are the producer, the writer, the editor.
yes. Lewis and Clark.
the Lewis and Clark, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah.
Were you an actor? Do you remember what your part was in the play? I mean, not like exactly.
I think that I had a reading part. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So a certain amount of acting that goes on with that, I guess.
Did you use your diaphragm?
I did.
Project.
Her mitochondria and her diaphragm were working double time.
Working overtime. Mm-hmm.
But I have to tell you that I haven't thought of that story for many, many, many years. I don't even know why I thought of it today. I guess just talking about, the whole
Do you remember
subject.
when we put on a play?
Yeah.
Yes. I remember trying lots of plays, but there was one that was like solid that really like panned out.
Which one?
I also don't remember the
You have the memory of it.
I do.
And your great feelings and satisfaction.
We had a really good production one time. Like there was one really good
but
we had like programs made. We had like a set.
Was it downstairs?
Yes, it was totally
all
downstairs.
all your programs were downstairs.
Was Libby the Bush?
She was something like that. Close.
She was the fish.
She was
Lying on the
That poor youngest sister.
Love you, Libby.
Right. Why do you always do this to me?
You really just.
I can imagine if my children were doing a play. It would be Hannah doing the entire
Hannah
play.
would be everything.
The youngest child in
Quinn
our
and Ted
family.
would be the branches of just.
They would just like, I don't know, carry her from place to place or like pretend be the set change guys and, drag things on and off. Change the lights. It would be the Hannah show.
It would be the Hannah show for sure.
The kid likes the stage, though. I don't know where she got that from.
Gosh, when we were at the botanical gardens earlier, and we saw these like little fake insects, but they were like blown up real big so you could see them. And she took one look at the ant, and she was like, "Oh!" And then like threw herself on the ground and was like, "An ant, a big ant!" It was so cute. And then she went running around to all of them and.
Like, Hannah, you can't scream. Like, it's a really tiny space. There's echoes. It's, like, actually painful.
But in, like, every single one of them, she would, like, drape herself over it, or she would fall on the ground, and it was so cute.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
I hope one day my kids do a play. They will.
Mm-hmm.
They're always really good at doing, like, the handmade gifts. I love the handmade gifts.
Oh, my gosh. They're the best.
They are the best. Teddy did one time that was like an interview that the school, or it was like a prompting thing, like what's your mom's name? Like, how old is your mom?
Okay. What's
What's your mom's favorite thing to do? And that one is my absolute favorite because he was like, what's her favorite thing to do? It was like, take care of me. How old is she? She's like 18, 76. She's probably 16 actually because she can drive.
What a Teddy answer.
I know. And then what did he say? He was like, what does she do when you're not at home? He was like, probably drink coffee and watch shows that I can't watch. Something to that effect. It was like, I know. So vacuum. She likes vacuuming and eating salad. Which is like, I do like a good salad, but not like my most
not your
favorite
whole
thing.
life.
But I know. More multidimensional than that, too. I appreciate the effort. I wish they would do one every year. I should start doing that for my own Mother's Day present to myself. I know. Printing out a little like interview sheet
Why
and having
not?
them
Just
fill
like,
it
and
out.
if you wouldn't mind, fill this out for me. Make sure you put your name and date it. Thank you.
or there will be points taken off.
Well, I'm going to say good conversation. And I'm going to leave us with hashtag mother's mitochondria. And call it good.
Nice.
Everybody out there, give your moms a hug and a kiss and some flowers and an interview and
something
a really
something
great handmade present and a play.
And all the things.
All the things.
We'll see you next time.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Bye.
This chapter of Campbell's Corner was brought to you by the Possibilities Podcast platform.